Good morning and welcome to Nigeria Now, showing on your digital first Pan-African news network, that is TOS Television. It's that time where we'll say Happy New Month. Yes, you're welcome to the month of December 2021. And as always, my name is Merciful Ajunomo. Joining me in the studio this time to talk about some stories is Felix Adetobo. You're welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning.
Happy New Month.
Same here.
How you doing?
Yeah, fine.
Okay, we have some newspapers this morning to analyze. Let's start with the Blueprint newspaper. The banner headline there says, EndSARS report opened deep wound. And that's coming from Sanwo-Olu. We have two writers. The first, invite youth for peace walk. The second, assures white paper will be out soon. And we can get that story on page 6. What do you make of this story? I know it has been on the front burner for a couple of days right now since the Lagos panel started their meetings. But what do you make of this story?
Thank you very much. You see, the first thing is that came to mind when I listened to the governor of Lagos State yesterday about this report is that it is quite immoral, to want to encourage others to patiently accept injustice. The injustice you cannot take, you are encouraging others to accept it. What's the meaning of work for peace? Or we are supposed to be working in peace? If there is no war in the first place, if truly you want peace, then you should do what is inside the recommendation. Nothing is being done. You accepted 11 out of 32, 6 to be sent to the federal government because they are not within his own jurisdiction. Then you rejected some. You rejected even the major one, saying that it was only one person that died, according to the pathologist Obafunwa, that just one person is what, but did the person die of gunshot? Yes, the person died of gunshot. So we have enough evidence. And in the first place, why did you even have to call the army in the first place? Where peaceful protesters are. So what is it saying? What does it mean by work for peace or working for peace? Are we supposed to be working in peace, not to work for peace? So all these things they are trying to romance, try to, romance the whole thing and make it look as if they really wants to, it's just like a bribe that they want to give to the Nigerian youth. They want to shy away from injustice. It shouldn't be so. I think the people advising the governor are not doing him any good. What he should do that will give us justice. Don't worry, we are going to work. But before any work will come up, let justice be served first. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We have to do the right things and stop dilly-dallying and try to see how to just meander your way, just try to romance the whole thing. No, it doesn't make any sense to me. And it's quite unfortunate what came out yesterday after our expectation, because we're all disappointed that this is what the governor will be telling us at the end of the day. Personally, I'm not happy because this is not what I'm expecting. I slept very late waiting for the white paper. It came out, I think around 11, 12 yesterday. The white paper is out. I'm telling you the contents of the white paper now. In fact, the issue of October 20, right, 2020, was not the only one. Don't forget, the panel was set up before then, before the issue of 20. So there are two reports. There are two reports. The recommendation for the first report, that the original report before it was an extension, that 2010 was an extension, but it's the one that seems to be in the public space. But the first one, I think that one came up with 22 recommendations. Out of 22 recommendations, they accepted like I can't really remember now. But what we should think of about this matter is not even about the recommendations or what, the action of the government. Now, let me remind you, 28 states, set up this panel. How many states, Merciful, how many states have you heard that came out with any reasonable thing at the end of the day? Is it only Lagos State? What about the other states? This issue of EndSARS, what triggered EndSARS, I think, started from Delta State. Did we hear anything?
The protests.
Yes. What started it that made everybody to like, okay, then to Osun, another issue again that happened in Osun, that was what now triggered the whole thing. Where are the other people? Where are the other states? What have they been able to come up with? Even Abuja, it was when the first anniversary was closed. I think like sometimes 2 months ago, when it was, that was when Abuja panel quickly came up that they were not funded, this and that. It was only that of Lagos. Definitely check all these 28 states. Nobody is able to come up with anything to show to us that this is what they've done critically. But only Lagos State. The Lagos State now that we think we have hope in. Look at what the government of Lagos State is telling us. It's quite unfortunate.
All right, you can get that story on page 6 of the Blueprint newspaper. And just underneath the tag there, we see MDAs presenting old projects as new ones, and that's coming from the President of Nigeria, Buhari. The two writers says, vows to punish corrupt public servants, honors Okoronkwo Nweke Ahmad for exemplary conduct. That can be found on page 6 of the Blueprint. We see something from FIRS on page 23, while Nigeria didn't sign OECD minimum corporate tax agreement. And then we see Senate probes jailbreaks across Nigeria, summons Aregbesola Malami, NCS, CG Nababa. Lawmakers differ over army recruitment, and we can get it on page 5 and 8 of the Blueprint newspaper. I have a couple of other stories right there. Just grab yourself a copy of the Blueprint newspaper. On the business day, the banner headline right there is lawmakers slow World Bank's $500 million power grant. That can be found on page 30. And then we see something, MTN pegs retail listing price at 169 naira. We can get it on page 30 as well. And then Whiskey rakes in over 5.2 billion naira from O2 Arena concert. That can be found on page 2. Then Osinbajo others see higher prospects for capital market growth. We can get it on page 2 of the business day as well. The banner headline on the Daily Times newspaper is why we introduce Treasury single account. That's coming from Buhari. Pledges sanctions against head of MDAs engaging in fraudulent activities. Tackling corruption requires a holistic approach, saying by the finance minister. We've been talking about corruption since the inception of this present administration. Now we're seeing something about the Treasury single account, and people, of course, have been talking about it. How much do we have? What's our spending rate like? But what do you take of this fight? Will I say constant fight against corruption? Looking at where we still are as a country in terms of our economy.
Firstly, President Buhari is not right to have said they introduced. He never introduced the Treasury single account. It was introduced by Dr. Goodluck Jonathan. He was one that introduced it. And when they came on board, they discovered that, oh, wow, this is one of the best ways to tackle corruption. And they took it up. And I appreciate them for doing that, because government should be in continuum. It's not what you meet, then you just feel that, no, I won't go this, then you start, I won't go with this, then you start your own. You see, corruption has been their mantra before they even came on board. Corruption, corruption. The same President Buhari who told us that he's going to fight corruption is the same person that before he even came on board, he told us that fuel subsidy is a scam. Now, they are taking us to what they call scam. You see, it's still corruption to me, because if you cannot hold you by your words, that's still corruption. Any act of immorality, when you say something and you cannot really live up to that thing, is still corruption. So, the issue of a Treasury single account, are we really saying now that how many people have been prosecuted in the first place? When we talk of this, is it that we don't have corrupt practices again happening, since there are a lot of corrupt practices? But I think what the TSA has done is to minimize corruption. But trust me, these people still have their way, to get whatever they want to get out of the government. Are you getting it now? So maybe through overcharges in whatever kickbacks and other stuff, they have their way. So corruption is an endemic, and it has eaten deep into the fabric of society. What the government can do is to just keep taking on steps to see how to minimize it. But for us to take it away, come on, I don't think that's possible.
Okay, still on the Daily Times newspaper, from the very top there, we see Senate wants separate prisons for terrorist, high-profile criminals, probe of jailbreaks. On the Daily Independent newspaper, the banner headline there says, EndSARS, Lagos rejects panel's report on death of 9 persons. Of course, we've spoken about that story. And then on Daily Trust, the banner headline there is, no killing at Lekki Tollgate, Lagos counters panel. We can get that on page 5. On the Nigerian News Direct, PIA $5 multi-billion upstream project suspended to take FID in 2022. That's coming from the NNPC as indigenous firms tackle IOCs on vendor registration. That can be found on page 2 of the Nigerian News Direct newspaper. And don't forget that you can always stay updated on our website. That is www.TOSTVnetwork.com on happenings across Nigeria and, of course, across Africa. And don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms at TOS TV Network on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thank you for joining us on the 1st of December episode of Nigeria Now This Time. Again, my name is Merciful Ajinomo. See you tomorrow.